Alright guys, here's parts 3. So in part 1, the C was always positive. I did the intro and then C was always positive. In part 2, C was negative. And in part 3, we're going to be looking at quadratics there. All the signs are all mixed up. So we have to be able to figure out, no matter what signs I give you, you can figure out the numbers, the signs, whether things should add, whether things should subtract, etc. Okay, so I have this handy dandy little chart here that we're going to fill in. Okay, we're going to focus on this first part, when the constant is positive. And by constant, I mean the C. Okay, so the C in both of these is a plus. So that means the signs inside the parentheses will be the same. Okay, then we look at the sign of the middle term. So the sign of this middle is minus. So that means this is going to be x minus x minus. The sign of this middle is plus. Then I need two numbers that multiply to the 35 and 20 and add to the middle, 12 and 9. Okay, so 35, the numbers that multiply to 35 and add to 12 would be 5 and 7. And I plug those right in. The order doesn't matter because the signs are the same. I could have put the 7 first if I wanted to. Multiply to 20 and add to 9. 4 and 5. Again, I could have put 5 and 4. The order doesn't matter because the signs are the same. But we're going to have that mixed in with problems where the constant, or the C term, is negative. That means that the signs inside the parentheses will be different. So I've got minus 60 and minus 44. That tells me that one of these is going to be x plus, one of them is going to be x minus. And I could put the x minus first and then the x plus. That doesn't really matter, okay? What matters is how I do the next part. I want two numbers that multiply to the constant and subtract to the middle. And I don't just plug these in. I have to think about where they go. So I need two numbers that multiply to 60 and subtract to 4. I think we saw that in the previous video, and the numbers 6 and 10 work. Okay, I have to think about where it's going to go. Here's the key point. Look at the sign of the middle. Okay, if it's subtract, like this one is, if it's subtract, then the larger number gets the subtraction sign, and the other number goes to the plus. If it's plus, okay, then the larger number goes to the plus. Okay, so 11 times 4 gives me 44. The larger number gets that same sign, gets that plus. So everything's going to be mixed up, and that's how we're going to have to work through this. Okay, so we really need to work through our signs. So we start always with our constant at the end. Okay, so I've got plus 4. Plus 4 means our signs are the same, but I'm not just going to rush in and put signs, okay? I don't know what they are. I just know that they're either both pluses or both minuses. Then I will look over here at the sign in front of the 5 and I say, oh, that's a plus sign, so I know they're both pluses from that side. Then I need the number that multiply, two numbers that multiply to 4 and add to 5, which would be 1 times 4. In the next example, looks very similar, right? The only difference is now this is a subtraction sign in front of the 5. Okay, so the plus sign in front of the 4 tells us, again, the signs are the same. But I don't know what the signs are until I look at the 5. They're both minus. Okay, so if there's any lingering thoughts that you just copy the signs from the quadratic to the factors, that doesn't work, okay? It's not minus, plus, minus, plus. It is minus, minus for this one, okay? So, same numbers work, 1 and 4, all right? But it was just getting those signs in the middle correct. Okay, so now our 4 is a subtract. So that tells me my signs are different. One is subtract, one is add. Or one is add, one is subtract. Doesn't matter. I need two numbers that multiply to 4 and subtract to 3. Okay, well, 4 and 1 still work. But I'm thinking about it. I'm not just plugging those numbers in. The plus sign in front of the 3 tells me that the larger number gets the plus sign. Okay, now here's where it tricks you, because it goes plus, minus, but guys, that's a coincidence. Like I said, half the time, if you go by that, you're going to get it wrong. So don't do that, okay? Last one in this little group. Minus means the signs are different. Okay, I want to point it out one more time. Minus, 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 plus. So don't just copy the signs. It does not work. Okay, so we're still using 4 and 1. All right. The minus sign in front of the 3x tells me that my larger number out of 4 and 1 is the one that gets the minus this time. Okay, so just look at how your signs are working. Okay, and we're going to do another little similar little exercise underneath. Okay, spoiler alert, we're going to be using the numbers 2 and 5 every time for our factors. Okay, this is really an exercise in signs. All right, so I got those set up. Our first example in the group, I'll scroll this just a little bit. Our first example in the group, if we look at the end, there is a plus sign in front of the 10. That tells me the signs are the same. If I want to know what they are, I look at the 7's sign. 7's sign is plus, so they are plus and plus. Then I can plug in the 2 and the 5 any way I want because the signs are the same. Okay. The next one is different because even though this is a plus sign, remember all that does is tell me the signs are the same. The minus sign in front of the 7 tells me they are both subtract. And again, because the signs are the same, the order of the numbers does not matter. In the next two, my 10s are both minus. So 1 minus, 1 plus. I'm still using the numbers 5 and 2, okay? But I have to think about which one gets the plus, which one gets the minus, where do they go? I can't just plug them in wherever because the signs are different. I need the sign to come out correctly for the 3x. So if the 3x here is a minus, then the larger number, 5, is going to get the minus sign. In the next example, the 3 is plus. So the 5 goes to the plus sign. Okay, so when you're working through your examples, think about your signs. Think about your signs. All right, guys, have a great day. See you next time.